Hello, World Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger doing a full tank review here on the T-55A. This is a Tier 9 medium tank from the Hybrid Nation, and yes, this is a premium tank. If we go up to the shopping cart, go over to bundles, you'll see two options right now in store. 20 bucks gets you all 9 equipment slots and the golden carp camo plus an avatar. Woo! Note, this camouflage here you can buy for 600 gold. So if you don't like the camo, or if you've got some gold and some extra credits laying around, I would highly recommend the versatile $15 option here. I think this is a really nice price point for this tank. Obviously, premium tanks, you're going to make some credits. It's a nice medium tank. It drives really well. We'll obviously get into that a little bit later, but I think 15 bucks for a tier 9 medium of this caliber is really good. You can see down here at the bottom, there's quite a nice selection of medium tanks. However, only one other premium, the AMX-31 prototype there, is a much better tank than this T-55A, in my opinion. You don't have quite the armor, but you have more mobility, you have a better gun, and you have 10 degrees of gun depression versus the 5 on this tank here. Obviously, this tank is going to drive very much like the T-54. It is pretty much the same in just about every aspect. You do get a little bit more pen on the gun, but all the other gun handling stats are the same. And again, keep in mind, only 5 degrees of gun depression. Now, one other thing of note, on the front you do lose some armor compared to the T-54. 100 on the hull, 180 on the turret versus 120 and 200. So you lose 20 across the board. But get this, on the side of the turret here, you've got 200 mil of armor versus 160. And 165 on the back. So you're going to get a lot more bounces, I think, from the turret, from the side and back on this tank, but it is difficult to play hull down because of your lack of gun depression. So consumables, repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Provisions, you can see here I'm running field rations. I'm skipping over protective kit, going with improved fuel and tinned food. It's got good mobility, so I would go over, get some better view range and reload time with this option here. Ammunition, you can see we've got heat as our premium, AP as our regular. Make sure you're buying your premium ammo there with credits, 4,000 per round. As far as equipment goes, I'm running calibrated shells, defense system, improved optics, supercharge. Could see an argument. You've got 1,000 shell velocity on this tank already, which is an upgrade over the T-54 at only 895. So you could certainly see an option of running it with the gun laying drive. But for right now, this has been working pretty well for me, so I'm sticking with it. Enhanced armor, engine accelerator, vertical stabilizer, enhanced tracks, and consumable delivery system. Alright guys, here's blitzstars.com. We're going to run through this real quick. T-55A on the left. Right next to it is the T-54. You can see quite near the top there in DPM. A little bit better in the pen, 219, but across the board it's towards the bottom of the pack. 310 in alpha, again towards the bottom, so you are exposed a little bit, shooting a little bit more with a reload time of 6.8 seconds without any sort of equipment. You can see there, show velocity at 1,015, much better than the T-54, but again, you're going to be a little bit lower than some of the other better aimed guns in this tier. And that's why I was using that calibrated shells. Aim time here is decent. The stats don't really play out the story. When you start getting into gameplay, you'll see how good this tank is. That dispersion at .317. Again, this is before any equipment. Only 5 degrees of gun depression is the negative there. And as we move down here, you can see 56 kilometers per hour is top speed. Very, very workable. Camo's decent. And then as we get down 135 on the credit coefficient, obviously that's why we're buying the premium tank so that we can make credits, right? And here we go. You can see here, compared to the other medium tanks at the tier, we've got some really nice armor because you can see a lot of red over here, but not quite as much armor as the T-54. However, when we get to the sides here at 200, look at this. We're blowing all of these other ones away. So a little bit different there, and certainly worth noting on the review here. Alright guys, first game I'm going to show here, top tier Mayan Ruins, and quite honestly, I mean, there is no, super awesome tank that's going to win every game for you. A lot of winning at these upper tiers is learning your map awareness, learning what your tank is good at, and exploiting that to your advantage. And one of the things that I see so many newer players do is rush out there trying to get damage early. And I'm guilty of it. Um, because we are aggressive. But I will tell you this, that of all of the games that I've had, just the super huge games, they've typically come either I've missed some early shots and not been doing damage, or I just wasn't in the right position, and yet I was able to stay alive for the duration of the game because I conserved my hit points. And you know I basically farmed damage at the end of the game. But you can see here, I went to the middle of the map here on Mayan Ruins, and as soon as I see they've got 6 tanks down here, I am going to push in. No point sitting there where I wasn't going to get shots off. And then, this isn't a super high damage game by any stretch of the imagination, but it does show off some of the strengths and weaknesses of this tank. And you can see we are in a position where we're already on this bridge looking down, and yet we still don't have the gun depression. 5 degrees is very difficult to play with. And there's no point in me sticking my nose over there to get shot by 4 tanks. So we're using our map awareness and just staying alive. There's no point me trading hit points at this point. Let other people go down for you, and we're just using this ridgeline. Sometimes you got to pull backwards to get the gun depression you need, but it's gonna come. We can get splash damage. They're not going to pen the front of us. And quickly now we're up over 1,000 damage. Lower hit point tanks are in front of us, so we push on in there and use our higher DPM over a tank like that T-92 and finish him off. Knowing that I had a tank behind me, I pushed on around to the corner, so if he came over the bridge there, I was safe. And here you'll see the bounce potential of this tank. I'm not going to push. I've only got 82 hit points. I'm going to be ready to shoot him. And so we get a shot in. He bounces. And we will speed this up here real quick just to finish this game off. This is not like hyperdrive or anything, but just in order to finish this game off and get to the stats. But I talked all the way through all of that, but just how well this tank moves, how it turns. We finished there with just shy of 2,300 damage, and really only farmed that towards the end of the game. So now we'll jump to Middleburg, and this is a supremacy game. Typically, the team that wins the hill is going to win Middleburg. But we get an IS-3 that decides to go town, and then obviously he rages against the team that didn't support him. But back to this tank. You can see how well it accelerates. This is my playstyle, and that's why I am recommending this tank. I like a tank that can get around the battlefield. You'll see it in this game. That has good accuracy. And that I'm willing, can fire quite a bit. We're using this ridgeline here to get our gun depression. You really got to work hard to find your spots in this tank. I'm telling you, 5 degrees of gun depression is difficult to play with. So if you're not comfortable with it, then don't waste your money. But you can see they've only got a couple tanks up here right now. And I know that there's two tanks down in cap. I saw that E75 and the IS-3 down there. So typically I might poke my nose around here just to see what's going on. But I'm being aggressive. That E75 has pushed on around. Don't have to worry about him. So we can push on in. Sorry about that. That was a new subscriber notification. I need to remember to turn that off when I capture these videos. But you know, this tank, just the amount of times you're able to reload, refire, and we're just turning around here. We're going to go ahead and cap this base out. Still a pretty close game. But look at this. You can't even get close to shooting down the bottom of this hill. But once we are, you know, yeah, I just can't say it enough. I mean, it's a very mobile tank. It will get balanced shots, so it's not like driving a light tank that you know, gets penned by everything. You can brawl in this tank, and it takes me back to my early days of playing the T-54. It was my first tier 9 tank, I believe, and you know, I just played that thing to death. I loved it. But I think it's pretty much growing mothballs right now. I just have so many tier 9 tanks. And it's not really, it's a tier that I don't play too often. It's usually 8 or 10. But we've isolated this IS-3. He's just shot. And it's a close game. It's still 2-on-2 at this point. Come on in, finish him off. Let's not even slow down. Don't ram an E75. You will not like the results. And as you can see here, I'm just trying to keep on him, and as soon as he turns, it's off to the races we go. And let's get around him and get out of here. And just look at the maneuverability of this tank. You see, we're down a tank at this point in time. But, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's just a wonderful play style for me. Thankfully, that JP2 gets taken out. Miss out on the kill shot. That's disappointing. We'll get one more shot here. Did a T-34, and you know, we had a great game. So much mobility, putting shots in constantly. 4,000 damage, 54,000 credits there at tier 9. 15 shots landed. So super fun play. Alright guys, so here is a bottom tier supremacy game on Faust. And I apologize for not being able to get maybe a better quality bottom tier game in. I really have not had a lot of time to play this week. A lot of work, a lot of stuff going on at the home front. So I did play about 15 battles in this tank, sitting at about 70% win rate. And again, you know, it's just an all-around nice tank. But we're pushing up here onto A, and you'll see immediately the issues with the gun depression. Again, it's difficult. You really have to know your spots on these maps. You can see here we're just struggling a little bit too much there. And so we just take a shot basically when our gun went down, and obviously it's not as accurate. If we look at the mini-map there, I've got a medium and a TD behind me. And you know, just trying to draw a shot from this WZ, but he is going to back around, and so I see him back off the hill, so I'm going to push, and that's when an enemy medium pops up there. So there should be 2-on-1 with me facing this WZ, so I figured I should use my mobility to get around this tank, assuming that the rest of the guys have pushed hard. But we drop adrenaline as soon as we take that first shot, and I'm just going to stop him from backing up. Now, I've seen this Sheridan in the top of the screen here, and I'm trying to, as best I can, use the WZ as a screen. And I was hoping that that WZ would get taken out, so we're going to have to get one shot here and get him out. Obviously now we're going to take a second shot from the Sheridan, but you know, with a tank like this, you just want to get in the face of this tank. Don't let him, you know, get good clean shots. There's a good chance you're going to get bounced, but T-57 on the enemy, there was our bounce right there. So T-57's coming up on us. Unfortunately, he's reloaded, and he's going to unload all 3 shots into us there. And we get taken out. We do go on to win that game, but look at this. Bottom tier, we end up with top damage in a really short amount of time. So I think that goes to show you just how strong a brawler tank, you know, we're up against 2 tanks there, this can be. So for 15 bucks, I think this is a really good deal if you like a medium gameplay and can play with a tank, Soviet style tank with very limited gun depression. So sorry for a little bit of a rushed game here. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. I'm trying so hard to get to 10,000 this year, and I can only do it with your help. So with that, have fun out there, stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.